A sand-colored wind pushed through the field hospital tents as dawn crept over the horizon. Inside the GP tent, exhausted Marines and medics moved in slow motion, rubbing sleep from their eyes, waiting for orders, waiting for coffee, waiting for anything to break the heaviness of another long night. But everything changed the moment a single dad janitor stepped inside. His name was Daniel Reyes, quiet, soft-spoken, carrying a mop in one hand and a small lunch box in the other. He wasn't military. He wasn't even a contractor. Just a civilian worker hired to keep the tents clean so the real heroes could focus on saving lives. Most people barely noticed him. Except this morning, everyone would. Because today, a U.S. Marine corporal, loud, half awake, and joking around to impress his buddies, called out to him across the tent. "Hey, janitor, what's your rank?" The Marine teased. "You missed a spot, sir." Some laughed, some smirked, some didn't even look up. Daniel simply paused, gave a tired smile, and kept pushing his mop. He had heard worse in life. But then the Marine added with a grin, "Come on, man, humor me. What rank would you be if you were in the service?" Daniel slowly looked up, and the entire tent froze. Because the words he spoke didn't sound like a joke. They carried weight, history, pain, authority. "Lieutenant Colonel," he replied softly. "Retired, U.S. Army Special Forces." The joke died instantly. The Marines stopped mid-laugh, mid-chew, mid-breath. A medic dropped a clipboard. The corporal who teased him blinked fast, suddenly remembering every rumor he'd heard. The quiet civilian who moved like he'd been trained, who flinched at distant explosions, who always lingered near the wounded with a strange, practiced calm. But no one knew the truth, until now. "This is the hook, guys," Daniel thought silently. "Stay with me till the end, it's worth it. And yes, if you're watching, stick around and hit like and subscribe. Stories like these deserve to be heard." The corporal stammered, "Why, you were Special Forces?" "Sir, I didn't know." "It's okay," Daniel said gently, returning to mopping. "I'm not here as a soldier. Not anymore." But the Marines weren't ready to let the moment pass. Questions floated through the tent like sparks from a fire. "Why'd you retire? What happened? Why are you working here? Where's your family?" Daniel didn't answer. Not because he wanted to hide anything, but because the memories still hurt. Then, at the far end of the tent, a small voice broke through. "Daddy." A little girl peeked out from behind a supply crate, tiny, hair messy, holding a worn stuffed turtle. Her presence softened the entire tent instantly. The Marines straightened up, trying to look less scary. Some smiled. One even waved awkwardly. Daniel turned, his expression melting. "Emma, I told you to stay in the sleeping area. I had a nightmare," she whispered. "And you weren't there." The room went silent again. The Marine corporal, now pale with embarrassment, watched as Daniel scooped up his daughter with a tenderness nobody expected from a man who once led missions in the deadliest corners of the world. Daniel carried her to a folding cot and sat, gently brushing hair from her eyes as she clung to his shirt. The Marines exchanged looks. This was no ordinary janitor. And definitely no ordinary father. Finally, the corporal stepped forward. "Sir, what happened? Why'd you leave the army?" Daniel hesitated, then sighed, knowing maybe it was time. "My wife was killed in a convoy attack," he said quietly. "I was overseas. I couldn't get home in time. Emma was barely 2. When I finally held her again, she didn't recognize me." His voice cracked. "That day, I chose being a father over being a soldier." Nobody moved. Even the medical equipment seemed to go quiet. He continued, "But raising a child alone isn't easy. PTSD doesn't care that you're trying. Bills don't care. Life doesn't pause. So I took whatever job kept us fed. And this place, this tent, paid just enough to keep us going." For the first time, the Marines didn't see a janitor. They saw a warrior. A father. A man carrying wounds deeper than any visible scar. Just then, an alarm blared from outside, an incoming medevac. The tent snapped into motion. Nurses rushed. Marines grabbed stretchers. Medics suited up. Daniel gently lowered Emma onto his cot. "I'll be right back," he whispered. "Daddy, don't go," she pleaded. "I have to help. Just like I used to." And then, something extraordinary happened. A nurse frantically yelled, "We're short on hands. We need someone who knows trauma protocol, now." Without hesitation, Daniel stepped forward. And this time, nobody questioned him. He assisted like he had never stopped serving, calm, precise, every movement sharp and controlled. He checked pulses, stabilized fractures, gave instructions that even the medics followed without argument. The Marines exchanged stunned looks as the janitor became a leader right before their eyes. The corporal whispered, "Holy, that man's a real-life hero." By the time the medevac was handled, exhaustion painted Daniel's face. But the gratitude in the Marines' eyes told him everything he never heard enough of. Respect, recognition, brotherhood. Later, the corporal approached him quietly. "Sir, I'm sorry about earlier. Really sorry." Daniel smiled. "You didn't know." "No, but I should have shown respect either way." And, the Marine hesitated. "If there's anything you or your daughter ever need, you tell us. We take care of our own." Daniel's eyes softened. "Thank you." As the sun dipped low, and the field hospital grew calm again, Emma crawled into her father's lap. Daniel held her close, looking around the GP tent that had become more than just a job.